In September 2003, Edinburgh Sheriff Court swapped the light bulbs in its public toilets for blue ones. Under blue light, the veins beneath your skin disappear, and the court wanted heroin users unable to find one. The counter move cost pennies. A ballpoint pen. Mark the vein on your arm before you walk in. A light built to hide veins ended up teaching people to aim in advance. It doesn't work, and the British government has said so in writing since 2005. So why is it still glowing in British toilets today? Edinburgh wasn't an outlier. That same year, after a string of public injecting incidents, a Sainsbury's and a Woolworths in Huntingdon, England fitted the same bulbs, and other British courts and shops followed. Then the idea crossed the Atlantic, and in America, it got industrialized. Turkey Hill, a 260-store convenience chain in Pennsylvania, began field testing blue bulbs with a loss prevention research lab at the University of Florida on a simple theory. As the lead researcher put it, the hardest core opiate user still wants to be accurate. In New Kensington, a Sheetz gas station installed blue recessed lighting with the local police department's blessing. By 2019, at least 3 Starbucks branches in central Philadelphia had bathrooms glowing blue, and the city's health department was handing out free bulbs to residents in Kensington, the neighborhood at the center of the city's overdose crisis, to screw into their porch lights. The light does more than hide veins. Under a blue glow, white powder is nearly impossible to see against a white surface. Every step of the process becomes blind work. No legislation, no hearings, no budget line. A drug policy spanning 2 continents rolled out one toilet, one bulb at a time. And from day one, the other side was winning. The blue light works as a weapon because 2 structures overlap, and neither one is about drugs. The first is biological. The blue of a vein is a trick of contrast, a slight difference in how skin and blood return light to your eye. Finding a vein means finding that contrast. It's why a nurse holds your arm under bright white light, and why the blue bulb is simply that trick run in reverse. Bathe the entire room in blue, and the difference collapses. Vein and skin blur into one surface. The second structure is legal. A shopping mall can put cameras in every corridor. So can a train station or a courthouse. But the toilet stall is the one enclave where cameras cannot legally go. 4 walls, 1 lock, no eyes. In a country blanketed in CCTV, the stall is where surveillance stops, and someone with nowhere else to go will eventually end up exactly there. By the height of the opioid era, the humble restroom had become the epidemic's unofficial infrastructure. It became the default injection site not because anyone chose it, but because it was what was left. And light became the only arm of the state that could reach inside. Within those few square meters, everything a government could do was compressed into a single color. There was another path, and it was on the table early. In 2002, the House of Commons Home Affairs Committee recommended piloting supervised injection facilities, rooms where nurses watch. The recommendation was shelved. A year later, Edinburgh got blue bulbs instead. Then, in October 2005, the government's own verdict landed. DFRA, the Environment Department, writing the official national manual on drug-related litter, reviewed the blue lights and issued a formal recommendation. They put users at greater risk. There was no evidence they worked, and they should not be installed in public toilets. The same document predicted exactly where the injecting would go instead: car parks, stairwells, side streets, parks, and noted one more cost. For people without stable housing, a public toilet is often the only place to wash, And a blue-lit one no longer works for that either. That was the government's written position in 2005. The bulbs kept spreading anyway. In 2010, researchers in Plymouth published the scorecard. Of 31 people who injected drugs, 18 said they were prepared to inject in a blue-lit room anyway, and 11 said the light deterred them not at all. One 44-year-old described finding his vein by touch. He couldn't see it. It didn't matter. Withdrawal doesn't wait for better lighting. A follow-up in Southend found the same pattern, 11 of 20 undeterred. And across both cohorts, injectors described the workaround the light couldn't touch. Established sites, including the femoral vein in the groin, which did not depend on eyesight in the first place. And this is where deterrence turns into damage. Injecting blind means punctured arteries, abscesses, nerve damage. Blood that's harder to see is blood that's harder to clean up. The light lands hardest on the people with the least margin, long-term users whose veins are already small and hard to find. The blue light made injecting more dangerous without making it more rare. It simply moved, exactly as the 2005 guidance had warned. In 2016, Glasgow counted 400 to 500 people injecting in public every day and proposed a supervised facility. For years, the UK government resisted the model. The Thistle, Britain's first legal injection room, finally opened in Glasgow in January 2025. 8 supervised booths, nurses on site, £2.3 million in public funding. A real intervention costs millions and requires nurses. A blue bulb costs a few pounds and requires an electrician. 12 years in, the view from inside the building tells you everything. In 2015, staff at Edinburgh Sheriff Court described the routine that had grown up around the lights. At the metal detectors, guards rifled through bags with small yellow pokers, long enough to keep their fingers away from any uncapped needle inside. They knew the toilets were still being used. People were arriving with ballpoint lines already drawn on their forearms. A court service spokesman even noted that supermarkets had picked up the same lights for the same reason. But the institution had considered the obvious next step and refused it. The spokesman asked the question the whole policy had been avoiding. Where do we stop with security? You cannot demand that everyone entering a courthouse roll up their sleeves. Anyone could be carrying those marks. Follow the logic of the blue light one step further, and you arrive at searching the public's skin. The court stopped at that line, but only at that line. That's why the light stayed on for 2 decades. It was never solving the injection problem. It was solving the visibility problem. And once a problem leaves public view, the institution can declare the job done. The pen marks walked straight past security. The vein still got found. But it all happened somewhere no one had to look. And for a policy that was only ever about looking, that counts as success. The light is still on, so that blue glow in the toilet near you. Who is it protecting? It was never meant to protect the person holding the needle. It's there so you never have to see him.